Okay, that was a different start to the morning class. Mac obviously thinks there's something in the garden that he's got to sort out, so he's going to do that. Anyway, good morning, everyone. I hope you're all well. I think the sound is all right. Yes, Soundman says all right. He's now had to rush off to do some IT work for someone, so hopefully we won't have any issues this morning when he's not here. Anyway, as I say, hope you're all well. Mac will be back shortly to join the class, no doubt. We're going to start straight away with our awareness that we've been doing. So feet hip width apart. Remember, just check your feet are in line. Have a look down. And at any point you can look down if it just helps you get a feel for your feet on the mat. Start first of all to think about the heels, so pressing the heels down now. Bring your awareness to the balls of your feet. Lift the toes up, helps you just feel the mat better under the balls of your feet. And again, just be aware of each part of your foot. Make sure you can feel it nice and firmly on the mat. And then when you're ready, just think about laying each toe down one at a time and try and spread the toes out slightly. And again, be aware of the pads of the toes on the mat without pushing too hard, without clinging on with your feet. So don't crunch up the toes. Keep them nice and long and straight. Spread them out and just let them sit nice and firmly on the mat. Okay, moving on to the legs. So think about lifting up through your legs without forcing the knees into a lock. So lengthen through the calves, lengthen through the thighs, coming all the way up to the hips. Be aware of the hips, your glutes, your abdominal muscles, moving up the sides of the body, the obliques. A nice deep breath in. Bring the ear all the way down into the abdomen. So feel the abdomen extend as you inhale. And as you exhale, release. So you're really lengthening through the body. The spine's nice and long, the neck's long. And we're going to just work with warming up the shoulders first of all, which we've been doing for the last few weeks. So on the inhale, I just want to bring the shoulders forward, lift them up towards the ears. And as you exhale, take the shoulders back as if you're trying to push the shoulder blades together and bring the shoulders back down. And again, inhaling, lifting, exhaling back and down. So work with the breath. Keep the breath nice and long. Inhale, slowly forward and up. As you exhale, slowly back and down. And then just keep that going with the breath. And once more, forward and up. Exhale, back and down. Okay, so in your next inhale, I want you to reverse the direction. So as you inhale, take the shoulders back as if you're trying to touch the shoulder blades together. And lift the shoulders up towards the ears. As you exhale, bring the shoulders forward and down. So just reverse the direction. But again, you're still working with the breath. Back and up on the inhale, forward and down on the exhale. Work with the breath. And to the end of that one, just releasing, letting the shoulders come back down. Make sure they feel nice and loose and just let them relax back down to your sides. Give the arms a little shake. And we're going to move on to awareness of the arms and the hands. So again, keeping the feet hip width apart. Don't lose that awareness through the feet onto the mat. That's your connection with the floor, with your mat. Lift through the legs, nice long spine. Inhale, take the arms out halfway. As you exhale, remember you're extending the arms and the palms. Inhale, take the arms above the head, the fingertips touch. Exhale, the arms lower back halfway. The inhale stretches them out, and the exhale brings them back to your sides. So inhale, lift. Exhale, stretch. Inhale, arms above the head, fingertips together, awareness of the fingertips as they touch. Exhale, halfway. Inhale, stretch. Exhale, stay with the breath. Inhale, lift. Exhale, stretch. Inhale above the head, fingertips together. Exhale, lower. Inhale, stretch, and exhale, lower back to your side. And again, inhale, lift. Exhale, stretch. Inhale, above the head, fingertips together. Exhale, lower. Inhale, stretch. Exhale, walk the breath. Inhale. Exhale, stretch. Inhale, above the head. Exhale, lower. Inhale, stretch, and exhale, back to your sides. Keep this going for a few more rounds if you can. Remember to stop if you need to. And again, inhale. Inhale takes you above the head, fingertips together. Stretching out, exhale. So if we can, we'll do one more round. Inhale. Exhale, stretching. Inhale. Fingertips together. Exhale, halfway. Inhale, stretch. And exhale, lower back to your side. Once the arms back to your side, I just want you to let them loosen off. Just let them hang nice and loosely by your sides. I want you to close your eyes. Take a nice deep breath in through the nose. Draw the air down into the abdomen. Really feel the abdomen extend on that inhale. So you're deepening the breath. And as you exhale, nice and slowly release the air back out through the nose. And again, inhaling through the nose, air down into the abdomen. This time, if you can, start to raise the air up into the chest. You feel the rib cage and the chest expand as you inhale. As you exhale again, slowly releasing, try and release the air from the top of the chest first, the abdomen last. And again, if you can, a full yogic breath. Inhale through the nose, draw the air down into the abdomen, feel the abdomen extend. Continue to draw the air up into the chest. Feel the rib cage expand, the chest expand, all the way up to the collarbones if you can. And as you exhale, gently releasing, release the air from the top of the chest first. Let the ribs relax and release the air from the abdomen. And once more in your own time this time, inhaling through the nose, draw the air in. See if you can do the full yogic breath without forcing, opening up the chest as much as you can with the air. And when you're ready, release the air through the nose, all the way back down, releasing the air from the abdomen. Just opening the eyes again. So we're going to move on to our next little bit of warm up that we've been doing, which is coming into those gentle forward bends. Remember the beach balls above the head, and then we move on to that tabletop position where you're creating a straight, your upper body's parallel to the floor, and you're creating a nice long straight flat back if you can, that you could set a tray of drinks on. Okay, so for this, if you can, bring the feet together. So our starting point for this one is Tadasana, our mountain pose where the body's nicely aligned. So if you can, big toes are touching, heels slightly apart. If that's not comfortable, you keep the feet hip width apart. Again, you lift through the legs without forcing the knees back into a lock. And as we inhale, you're going to lift the arms up above the head. And if you can, I want you to look up and sort of start to arch back. So you're really lengthening the spine, keeping the neck nice and long. Arms are nice and wide. And remember, you're holding on to a beach ball, a really big beach ball. So the fingers are stretched, fingertips are just resting the beach ball on so that it's not going to fall. You're holding and you're looking up. So as we exhale, we're going to bend the knees, bring the chest down to the thighs. So it's a nice gentle forward bend. The arms just sweep on the floor. And as you inhale, we're going to come all the way up, bring the arms back up above the head, back to the beach ball. Exhale into the forward bend. Inhale, coming all the way up. Think about the beach ball. Exhale into the forward bend. Inhale, up to the beach ball. Exhale into the forward bend. So really get that nice deep bend coming in. And as you inhale, coming all the way up, we're just waking up the body. Exhale into the forward bend. Inhale all the way up. Think of the beach ball. Exhale into the forward bend. Inhale to the beach ball. And again, exhale into the forward bend. Inhale up to the beach ball. Really lengthen that spine as much as you can. Exhale into the forward bend. Remember to relax the head and neck as you come down. Inhale all the way up to the beach ball. We're going to come back into that forward bend as we exhale. This time as we inhale, you can straighten the legs, run the hands up the legs, up towards the knees, and really lengthen that upper body. So your upper body is now parallel to the floor. You should be looking towards the floor because your neck's in line with your spine. You've created that nice long length through the spine, as if you're being pulled by the crown of the head towards me and by your tailbone away from me. So really create that length, really work in the position. Don't just hang, don't let the shoulders roll and the back curve. Try and keep nice and straight. Okay, so we're going to again start to work with the breath. Exhale, bend the knees, come back into the forward bend. Inhale, halfway up, tabletop position. Exhale into the forward bend. Inhale, tabletop position. Exhale, bend the knees, move towards the floor, and then inhale, come halfway up. And again, exhale, fold, inhale, table. Exhale, fold, inhale, table. And again, exhale, fold. So every time you come up to that tabletop position, really lengthen the spine. Exhale, fold, inhale, tabletop. So exhale, fold, and your next inhale, we're coming back to the beach ball, all the way up, look up, lengthen the spine. Exhale into the forward bend. Inhale, tabletop. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, beach ball. Forward bend. Inhale, beach ball. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, tabletop. Should really be working in that tabletop position. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, up the beach ball. Lengthen that spine. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, tabletop. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, think of the beach ball. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, tabletop. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, up to the beach ball. Let's keep this going. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, tabletop, lengthen. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, up to the beach ball. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, tabletop. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, up to the beach ball. Hold in the beach ball. So breathing in the beach ball, really lengthening, opening up the chest, looking up. Nice long spine, strong legs. Be aware of your feet on the mat. Exhale into the forward bend. Inhale, up to the tabletop. Again, make sure you can feel your feet on the mat and then really lengthen the upper body. Really work on lengthening. Feel that draw by the crown of your head towards me. And from your tailbone as if you're pushing away from me. So you're creating length. You're making that nice flat tabletop position. Don't let the shoulders roll forward. Push them up and back. And exhale into the forward bend and relax in the forward bend for a few moments. Make sure there's no tension in the head and the neck. The knees are bent. Feeling the mat under your feet. Breathe nice and deeply, and on an inhale, nice and slowly, coming back up to standing. Okay, so that was a nice little warm up. Really got us going there by keeping going through the positions as much as we can. Okay, so we're just going to do 2 rounds of sun salutes this morning, not as many as we normally do. We'll do the modified positions the first round. For some of you, that'll be the positions that suit you this morning, so you'll repeat those in the second round. And for others, you'll move on to the full positions for the second round. So our starting point is Tadasana. So again, make sure you're in that position where the body's nicely aligned. As I said before, if you can, big toes together, heels slightly apart. Otherwise, feet hip width apart, but make sure the feet are in line with their hip width apart as well. Lift through the legs, nice long spine. Your shoulders are back and down. Okay, so modified positions the first round. Inhale, arms out and up. As you exhale, bend the knees, chest the thighs, relax the head and neck. We're in that nice gentle forward bend. Step the right foot back as far as you can into a lunge position. Take the knee to the floor, flatten out the foot. Take the left foot back so you're on all fours. Nice and slowly draw the body forward. Lower your body to the floor. Forearms are on the mat. Lift the upper body into Sphinx. Remember, for Sphinx, lower body's nice and relaxed. You're pushing the shoulders back and down. From there, hips to heels, forehead to the mat. Extended child's pose. And coming back up onto all fours. Step that right foot forward, back through between the hands. Follow with the left. So you're in your forward bend. Deep bend in the knees. Push up through the legs. Bring the arms above the head. And exhale, arms back to your side. Okay, so it's exactly the same, but we're going to lead with the left leg this time. So again, your starting position is Tadasana. Really make sure you got that nice long length through the body. Inhale, take the arms out and up. As you exhale, bend the knees, chest to the thighs, hands are beside the feet. This time the left foot goes back into that lunge position. Right leg back, you're on all fours. Draw the body forward, lowering to the floor, forearms down, inhaling into Sphinx. From there, hips to heels, forehead to the mat, extended child's pose. And coming back up onto all fours, step that left foot forward, back through between the hands. Follow with the right into the forward bend, deep bend in the knees, push up through the legs, bring the arms above the head, and release. So we're going to move on to the full positions for those of you who can. And remember, if the modified suits, just do another round of the positions we've just done. So inhale, arms up. This time, look up and lengthen the spine. On the exhale, we're going to fold forward from the hips, straight back, straight legs, and then just relax down into the forward bend. Hands are beside the feet. Again, right foot back. So we're going to go back into that lunge, but this time I want you to push forward with the hips. Tuck the toes, take a plank position, so a nice straight line with the body, and then take the knees, chin and chest towards the mat, draw the body forward. If you can, this time coming into Cobra. If you prefer, stay with Sphinx. Either way, you're scooping the chest forward, pushing the shoulders back and down. Tuck the toes, lift the hips, down facing dog. Remember that inverted V shape with the body. And then step the right foot forward, lower the left knee, flatten out the foot so you're back in your lunge. Lift the upper body, hands above the head and look up. Palms together, lower the hands in front of the chest. Draw the body forward. From the hips, take the left elbow to the outside of the right knee. Release the hands, step the left foot forward. So you're back in your forward bend. Inhale, coming all the way up to standing. Looking up, lengthen the spine. Exhale, release. Okay, leading with the left leg. From Tadasana, inhale, look up. Plank position. From there, knees towards the mat, draw the body forward, Cobra or Sphinx. Tuck the toes, lift the hips, down facing dog. Step that left foot forward, back into the lunge. Lift the arms, look up. Palms together, lowering. Draw the body forward. This time the right elbow to the outside of the left knee. Release the hands. Step the right foot forward. Inhale, come all the way up to standing, looking up. And exhale, release. Great. Okay, so that's us moved through our warm-up different sections. Remember your sun salutes. If you're only going to do one bit of yoga in a day, it's very good to do them. Works all the all the joints and most of the major muscle groups as well. So it really gets you going in the morning if you get a chance to do your sun salutes. Okay, so moving on to our balance. So we've been working the last 2 weeks with Natarajasana, the Bali pose. And again, there's lots of different options. So most of you should be able to do some form of Natarajasana, the Bali pose. Remember, if for any reason it doesn't suit the 6 weeks previous, we were doing our tree pose. So stay with it for the balance if for any reason that suits you better this morning. Okay, so we'll warm up together. We'll go through the different versions that you can do. And remember, when it gets to the version that suits you this morning, that's the one you stick with for the next few rounds. So just letting the weight come down nice and firmly into the standing foot, keeping the upper body nice and upright. And then just lifting the other foot off the mat. So just get a feel of standing on one foot if you can. And you can take the arms slightly out to the side if it helps with your balance. Remember, if you're really struggling, just be beside a wall or a chair. You can just put your hand onto the wall or the chair. So we're just going to hold in this position for a few moments. Remember, you can just put the foot back to the floor if at any point you need to. Think about the standing knee. So you don't want it in a lock. It should be like just a little softness in the knee so that it's not in full lock position, and keep your gaze focused. So pick something that's not going to move. And keep the gaze focused, engage your core muscles. So think about your glutes, tightening up the glutes, the abdominal muscles, your obliques. Create that core to hold you in that position, gives you stability. Taking the arms slightly out to the side just gives you a little bit better balance. I'm just going to hold in that position if you can. And hands back to your side, foot back to the floor, move to the opposite side. So weight coming down nice and firmly into the standing foot. Remember, you never want to be holding onto the mat with the toes. So remember, in our awareness, we placed the toes, but we didn't cling onto the mat. It's exactly what you want to be doing when you're doing your balancing position. Soften the knee, lift the other foot off the floor, and just take the arms slightly out to the side, unless you're holding onto the wall or a chair. And again, just hold and breathe for a few breaths. Really nice balanced position without having to work too hard. Try not to let the knee come forward. So keep the knees in line with each other just now. We're just lifting the foot up, bending the knee, bringing the foot up towards the hip if you can. Hands back to your side, take the foot back to the floor. Just remember that might be a nice balance for you to work with if you're struggling a little bit with your balance. You can just do that this morning. You don't have to go any further. For those of you who can go a little bit further, just going to take it to the next stage. So again, weight coming down nice and firmly into the standing foot, lifting the other foot off the floor. And for those of you who can, hold on to that foot with the hand. And again, we're just going to hold and breathe for a few breaths. So we're really going to work on holding the balance. It doesn't have to be a difficult balance. You can keep it nice and simple and just work on the hold. Releasing the foot to the floor, going to the opposite side, weight coming down into the standing foot, lifting the other foot off the floor, and if you can, holding it this time with the hand. Don't worry if you can't, you just repeat what we did the first round. Standing knees soft, you're not hanging onto the foot with your mat, with your toes. Just remember awareness of that foot, the standing foot on the mat. So you know where it is, you know what it's doing. You should be able to feel the heel, the ball of the foot, and each of the pads of the toes on the mat. And release. Go back to the first side. Okay, so weight coming down nice and firmly into the standing foot, lifting the other foot up. So again, if you can, hold on to the foot. For those of you who can't, that's absolutely fine. You just stay with the foot where we had it in the first position. And again, some of you might be just getting to hold on to that foot. That's as far as you want to go. Others are going a little bit further. So you want to start to think about taking that knee back, away and back, and lifting the foot up towards the ceiling. Try not to completely drop the body forwards. Push those shoulders back and down, and lift that leg as high as you can without dropping the chest towards the floor. So you're still gazing ahead, the chest still open and up. If you're comfortable, you can start to stretch that other arm out. Gaze ahead. So you're looking ahead, you're not looking towards the floor. Really lift that leg up. It really gets a stretch through the quads, the front of the leg. So if you've been doing maybe running or cycling, you might find those muscles tight. Mine are very tight this week. Just got back to running. I'm really feeling it through those leg muscles. This is a really good stretch. Just lifting it up and away. Just holding and breathing. Releasing back to the floor when you're ready. We're going to move to the next side. So again, weight coming down nice and firmly into the standing foot. Bend the knee, and if you can, hold on to that lifted foot. Okay, so remember, you pick the position that suits you this morning, you hold in that position, you don't go any further until you're ready. For those of you you can start to think about taking the knee back and the foot up towards the ceiling. So try not to keep the foot, the heel close to the hips. Push it away, so you're pushing against that hand as you lift up. And then if you can stretch the other arm out into the balance Uttanajasana Bali pose. And release into the mat. Okay, so I want you to do another round of Bali pose, or if you're doing tree, stay with tree this morning. Just spill my water. And just work. I'll give you a little bit of time. So, because I know some of you can hold for longer than others. So I just want you to work on your own this time. Don't worry about what I'm doing. As I say, my muscles are really quite tight this morning. I've just got back to running over the last couple of weeks, and I'm really starting to feel those muscles. So I'm just going to work on stretching them as much as I can without overdoing it. And just holding and breathing in the position for as long as you're comfortable with. Try and do it nice and evenly on both sides. So I'm not going to tell you when to move on to the other side. You just do it in your own time, and I'll try and give enough time for everybody to have held for as long as they want this morning. I'm just working and getting the leg up. I'm not too worried about stretching the other arm out this morning. I just want to try and get a nice stretch through the leg and breathe in to the stretch. For those of you who are finished, remember you always go back to Tadasana, your mountain pose. Close the eyes, you can work with the breath. Just want to give a little bit more time for some people who might still be holding the position. So just stand in Tadasana, lengthen the spine, close the eyes. Think about your breath. Think about slowing the breath back down again if it's been rushing slightly. You've been working hard, trying to keep your balance, trying to stretch the muscles. Everything's going on at once, so your breath tends to start to get a little bit faster, and we just want to slow it back down. So nice deep breath in, down to the abdomen, and slowly releasing. Okay, so I will guess that everyone's finished their balance work. Remember, if you're not, just keep going for a few moments. You can always catch up again once you've finished. So those of you are ready to move on to our next little bit of work. We've been working with our standing postures, Virabhadrasana 1, moving into Virabhadrasana 2, the warrior balance pose. Okay, so we're going to warm up together. Again, there's going to be 2 different versions you can do of this when we start to move through the sequences. So by doing them all together, one after the other, you can always pick the one you want to stop with. So feet, standing at the back of the mat, I want your feet hip width apart and the feet parallel, so running along the mat. And I want you to be aware of keeping the feet in that position as we move through this first round. Have the hands on the hips so you can feel where your hips are as well in relation to your position on the mat. So for the first round, we're just going to step the right foot forward up the mat. You're not going to move the left foot at all, so don't let it turn out at an angle. Keep it running parallel along the mat. Your right knee is bent and it is above the ankle, so you're getting the stretch through the calf of the left leg. So remember, if you're not feeling that stretch, just bring the right foot forward a little bit further and really push forward with the knee, so the knee's above the ankle, so you're starting to feel that stretch in the back of the left leg. So your calf should be feeling that stretch. You're keeping that left heel on the mat. So remember, push down into the mat with both feet. Awareness of the feet in the mat. You want to stay there. And you want to, as well, keep the hips where they are. So when we lift the arms, don't be tempted to lift up through the hips and straighten out that front knee. Keep that knee nice and bent. Inhale, lift the arms above the head and look up. So to look up, you've really got, without dropping your head back, you've got to really lengthen the spine. You've got to arch back slightly as you look up. Keep the shoulders back and down. Try and keep the chest nice and open. So don't bring your chest, don't bring your shoulders forward and close up the chest. If you find that difficult, if you just widen the arms a little bit, that allows you to keep the chest nice and open. Looking up, holding and breathing. Hands onto the hips. Remember, we're going to bring the weight forward onto that front foot. And as you bring the weight onto the front foot, just pop the back foot off the mat and create that nice long line down through the body. Nice long stretched out leg. Extend the ankle, point the toes into a nice little balance. Keep the hands on the hips and keep the shoulders back and down. So don't let your shoulders roll forward and close in on the chest. Push them back and down. Hold and breathe. And then nice and slowly, think about bringing that left foot past the right, step it forward. So basically you're coming into Virabhadrasana 1, your warrior pose, with the left foot forward this time. We don't have to go all the way back to the back of the mat because we're not taking huge steps up the mat. So again, make sure you can feel the stretch in the right calf as you push the heel down onto the mat. The left knee is bent and is above the ankle, so you're not straightening out that knee. Keep the knee bent. Push down nice and firmly into the mat. Inhale, lift the arms, look up, lengthen the spine. So remember, keep the chest nice and open, shoulders back and down, looking up, holding and breathing. Hands nice and slowly back to the hips. Bring that weight forward onto the front foot and just pop the back foot off the mat, and then think about lengthening all the way through the body, along the leg, all the way to the toes, into the balance, holding and breathing. Remember, you can just take the toes to the mat anytime you're feeling a bit wobbly. If you're not sure if you balance, that's absolutely fine. And bring the foot back to the mat. Okay. So coming back to the back of your mat. So that might be the version of this little sequence, the warrior pose sequence that you want to stick with this morning. And if it is, that's fine. You just do those positions again as we work through this next round. For those of you who want to go deeper, remember we're turning the left foot out to 45-degree angle, stepping the right foot further up the mat this time. Remember, you are pushing your right hip bone forward, drawing the left hip bone back. Yes, that's right. Have I stepped? Yes, I've stepped my left foot up the mat. So remember, you want to keep the outside edge of the back foot on the mat. So you're pushing into that outside edge, and that brings that hip forward. So your hips are still square across the mat, and your left knee is still above the ankle. So again, as you lift the arms, be aware you're not going to move the legs. Don't be tempted to straighten out that knee. Keep that knee nice and bent. Inhale, lift the arms, look up. Really lengthen the spine. So you're really working and pushing these hips so that they're staying square. You're feeling the stretch in the calf of the back leg. You've got a nice open chest and you're looking up. So you're really working and lengthening that spine. It's a really strong position. Hold and breathe. Warrior pose 1. Virabhadrasana 1. Bring the hands back onto the hips. Bring your weight forward onto the front foot. Pop the back foot off the mat. Really think about stretching out that leg. So for those of you who are comfortable with the balance, remember this is where you can start to seesaw. Lift the leg, keep the leg nice and straight, lower the upper body, try and keep the hip down so your right hip's not lifting up. We're going to hold and breathe. So nice long neck, long spine. Remember, you've created that T shape with the body. Hold and breathe if you can. And bring the foot back to the floor, come back to the back of the mat. And I'm not sure if I confuse people there. I don't know. I get my left and my right muddled up, as most of you know. So hopefully you all got that right. I'm now turning my left foot out, 45-degree angle. If you have already done that first round, obviously you're going the other way. Okay, step the other foot forward. Make sure that outside edge of the back foot is on the mat. And then you're pushing into the mat with that outside edge of the foot and bringing that hip bone forward while your other hip bone is pushing back, okay? So really feel the stretch in that calf. Really feel you're working those hips so you're getting them square across the mat. When you've got that inhale, lift the arms, look up, lengthen the spine. Hands back to the hips. Bring the weight forward, pop that back foot off the mat, and then it's up to you where you want to be in the balance. But what you really want to think about is keeping the body and the leg in line. So you can just stay in quite an upright position, or you can start to seesaw the body. Some of you will get as far as the T shape, some of you won't, don't worry. If you're coming up to the T shape, remember, try and keep the hips square, so don't lift the leg that's lifted. You don't want that hip coming up towards the ceiling. It's still down in line with the other hip. You're looking to the floor, you're keeping your neck in line with your spine, and you're really stretching out that lifted leg as much as you can. And releasing back to the floor. Okay, so coming back to the back of the mat. So we're going to do one more round. Again, you can pick which version suits you best. For some of you, we're going to add in a little extra just to keep things moving along as we move from week to week. Okay, so I'm turning my right foot out this time, stepping my left foot up the mat. It's up to you which way round you want to do it. I'm keeping my hips squared across the mat. I'm lifting my arms and I'm looking up. Virabhadrasana 2, warrior pose 2. So we're going to hold and breathe. The whole time working on that outside edge of the back foot, keeping the hips square. This time, if you want, you can keep the arms where they are. You don't have to bring them back to your hips. Just makes it a little bit more difficult to bring the weight forward. Pop that back foot off the mat. So now you're bringing the arms in line as well. So your seesaw, if you start to seesaw, lifts the leg, brings the upper body and the arms down. You really want to work on getting that T shape if you can. And release. Okay, so again, moving to the opposite side. I'm going to turn my left foot out this time. Step my right foot up the mat. Make sure the hips are in line. Now you're pushing into that outside edge of the back foot. Inhaling. When you're ready, you're lifting the arms and looking up. Really lengthening that spine, getting a really good stretch all the way along the spine, while still thinking about the feet on the mat, pushing the hip forward. And on an inhale, push forward onto the front foot. Remember, you can keep the hands above the head if you're able to do that. Don't worry if you can't, just bring them back to your sides. Bring the hands back onto the hips if you need to. And then it's up to you where you want to go with the balance. You can just stay nice and upright, but work maybe with the arms above the head in that position. Or you can start to seesaw, find out what you feel like this morning. And release. Okay, so that's the sequence we've been working on. We have brought in a little bit extra this morning with the arms above the head. So remember, that's something you can work on. You can work on. You don't have to be doing the full T shape to be having the arms above the head. You can be doing nice and simple Virabhadrasana, one position, and then as you move into the balance, you can just be nice and upright, but still work the arms. It's really hard work on the arms if you're moving into the T shape. So you might find you can't hold it. You might bring them at that last one there. I brought mine back the hips, and that's partly as well. I know it's easy for that hip to lift up on the lifted leg, and by having the hands on your hips, your hip bones, you can actually feel where your hips are at the time. So sometimes it's quite nice just to be aware of where you are. As I've said before, it's really nice if you can get a mirror or window or something where you can see yourself. Although I made the mistake in the first one, I was looking just to see if I did have my leg up high enough, my arms out straight, and it does unbalance you slightly. But don't worry about that. It's just to get you an idea of where the leg is. When I can't see you in class, I can't say, right, you really need to get that leg higher. You've got to find a way of working it out yourself at the moment. Okay, so that is our standing posture work. We've been working quite hard this morning. I can really feel I was really working on keeping that hip pushing forward this morning. And you will start to feel it when you get into the right position. If you haven't been doing it and you haven't been getting that full stretch, you will feel it through the hips, and that's good. You know you're getting there. Okay, it's coming down onto all fours. We have also been working with different versions of side plank. So we're just going to run through those this morning. Not going to spend quite so much time. I want to make sure we get enough time to do our inversion. And last week I asked people if they had anything that they'd like to cover in the next 3 weeks before we finish classes this summer. So one person did come back, thankfully. Somebody did say what they would like to do. Well, she did say it's not that she would like to do it, but she feels she should do a little bit more abdominal work. So I'm going to try and fit a little bit of that in this week, and then maybe over the next 2 weeks do a little bit more of it as well. Okay, not that we are doing quite a lot of abdominal work with some of the posture work we're already doing, but some more targeted to the abs. Okay, so remember that center line running down the mat. I want your right hand, right knee, and right foot on the line. I want you to straighten the left foot, and remember your toes are pointing to the instep of your left foot. And it's important you try and keep the legs and the foot in that position. Okay, so some of you might struggle to get your balance here. Remember, think about sort of tucking the hips under and drawing up through the pelvic floor, through the core muscles, give yourself stability around this area. When you feel you've got that, you can start to rotate the upper body. So bring your shoulder up. So the shoulders are one above the other. You can bring that left hand onto the hip. For those of you who are comfortable, you can then take that left arm up towards the ceiling and you can look up towards the ceiling along that arm if you can. Don't worry if you can't. It just means you've maybe not rotated far enough, or if you're not feeling very comfortable with your balance, don't worry about lifting the arm even. You can just keep the hand on the hip. And some weeks you'll find, oh, I feel quite strong, feel quite steady in this position. Other weeks you'll start to think, I feel really wobbly. Don't worry about that. Different weeks, we can feel slightly differently. You don't worry, you just do what you can. I'm going to hold and breathe. Nice and slowly bring the hand back down to the floor. Move to your opposite side. So left hand, knee and foot in a line along the mat. Stretch that right leg out this time. And your left toes are pointing to the instep of your right foot. Think about getting your balance. Tucking the hips under, drawing up through the core, and then rotating that shoulder. Bring the hand onto the hip to begin with. For those of you who are really comfortable, just take the hand up to the ceiling and look up. For those of you who are not, just think about getting your balance. You can always bring this hand just back down onto the floor, just touch the floor. Just make sure you're comfortable. If you're really wobbling, you're really working at holding your core in, then remember that's really working the core while you're doing that. So don't worry if you can't do it, just concentrate and really getting tightness through the glutes, the abdominal muscles, so that you're really starting to work your core. Bring the hand back to the mat. Okay, so we're going to go back to the first side. So you can either repeat that and hold for as long as you comfortably can in that position. For those of you who want to do the full side plank, remember you're coming onto your right hand, you're stretching out both legs, you're keeping that hip nice and high, you're lifting the left arm up towards the ceiling. And then you're going to hold and breathe. You come out when you're ready. If you haven't already changed sides, just think about coming out now, moving to the opposite side. And again, remember trying when you're holding positions to mentally count while you're holding. If I'm not bringing it in and out of them, if you're doing it in your own time, so you try and do it nice and evenly on both sides. And just when you're ready, moving to the opposite side. And again, holding and breathing as long as you feel you can this morning. And coming back out now if you haven't already. Okay, So we're going to do a bit of work with our inversion before we go onto our backs and do some bicycle crunches, I think we'll do this morning. Okay, so coming onto all fours. Remember, you have the half plank version and the full plank, the half down dog and full down facing dog versions that you can work with. So we're going to do half down facing dog together to begin with. So make sure the knees are below the hips and keep them there. And then just bring the forehead down to the mat. Let the shoulders and the spine drape down towards the floor if you can. Stretch the arms out. And just relax down into this position. It really stretches through the shoulders, stretches out the spine. And coming back up onto all fours. Okay, so remember you can repeat that half down facing dog if it suits you better this morning. We're going to move into full down facing dog. We're going to do 3 or 4 rounds like we did last week. I know for some of you that's a bit much. So I'd said last week, when you've done enough, just lie on your front on the mat and have a little rest. So this week, instead of lying on your front and having a little rest, if you feel you can, if you've done enough of down facing dog, I want you to work with cat and cow postures because it's really good for your spinal health to work through cat and cow postures. So run over, most of you, well, all of you should really know your cat and cow postures, but just a reminder, so remember on the inhale, you're coming into cow pose, the head's up, the tailbone's up, and you're arching the spine down towards the mat. On the exhale, you tuck the head and the tailbone under, and you really arch the spine up towards the ceiling. And then you just work with the breath between the two positions. So rather than having a complete break, obviously, if you need a complete break, that's absolutely fine. You just lie down. But if you don't, but you feel down facing dogs becoming a bit much, just work with cat and cow postures if you can this morning. Okay, so we're going to move into full down facing dog for those of you who can. Tuck the toes under, lift the hips, take the shoulders away from the wrists. Really feel as if you're pushing those hips towards the ceiling and pushing the heels towards the mat. Some of you will have your heels on the mat, that's fine, as long as you're still pushing the hips towards the ceiling. Gaze towards the toes, and we're going to hold and breathe, and then we're going to come in and out a few times. So we're going to do a few rounds. So as I said, if it becomes too much, you just stop doing down facing dog. You can work with cat and cow postures instead. Okay, bring the knees back to the floor. I just want everybody to come into cow pose. And then we're going to move back into down facing dog for those who can, and for those of you who would prefer, work with cat and cow. So back into down facing dog. Again, we're going to hold and breathe. So really working on a basic full down facing dog position, no lifted legs, no doing anything different. We're just going to really work on getting that really good inverted V shape with the body. Again, knees to the floor this time. Just for a little break, we're going to move into cat pose. So tuck the head under, the tailbone under, arch the spine towards the ceiling. If you're already doing cat and cow postures, just continue to work with those. Now for those of you who can do another round of down facing dog, tuck the toes, lift the hips, moving back into down facing dog, holding, breathing. And nice and slowly, knees back to the mat. Okay, so we're going to move on to our backs now and do a little bit of abdominal work, really working the abs nice and strongly. And again, remember, you just do what you can, you stop when you need to. So for this one, you're going to come down onto your mat on your back and have the hands behind the head and the elbows out to the side. Okay, so from there, you want to think about bending the right knee and bringing it up towards the chest. At the same time, you bring your right knee, that's my left knee. Anyway, your right knee, you bring your left elbow towards the knee. Okay, as you exhale, sorry, I'll start that one again. Right, inhale, bring the knee up, opposite elbow comes to the knee. As you inhale, you take that foot away, but try not to put the leg on the floor. And at the same time, the other knee comes up towards the chest, opposite elbow comes in. So bicycle crunches. So you're pushing one foot leg away, bringing the other knee up. The stretched leg, try and keep it just off the floor, okay? And then you're bringing opposite elbow to knee. So bicycle crunches. Try and work with the breath. So we're not going like this. It's not as fast as you can. We're not at the gym. It's really slow and controlled, and it's actually better for the muscles. You're really working those muscles. You need to rest. You just bend the knees, bring the feet onto the mat, and just take a nice deep breath in. Continue going if you can. So we're just going to do one more round. I've not got an awful lot of time left this morning. So if you can, just doing another round of bicycle crunches. Again, just bring your feet onto the mat. Close to the hips, feet hip width apart. Take the arms out to the side. We're just going to stretch out before we finish just by doing a few spinal twists. So from there, just lower the knees to the right, look to the left. Inhale, bring the knees back to center. Exhale, lower the knees to the left and look to the right. And just keep that going with the breath. If you want to continue, if you feel you want a little bit more abs work, what you can do is you can just lift the feet off the mat so you're actually still working the abs. Just make sure you're drawing those abs in, push the lower back down onto the mat so you're protecting the back. And then that's still doing a little bit more abdominal work before we finish if you can. But remember, you can just do it nice and gently, just stretching out if you prefer, just to do that to finish off the class. The next time you bring the knees back to center, just draw the knees into the chest, wrap the arms round the shins, and you can just gently rock from side to side, Apanasana, your hug pose. Just eases off the back, gives the back a little bit of a massage. It's just a nice way to finish off the class. Just when you're ready, thinking about coming back up to sitting. Sorry, that last bit of the class was slightly rushed. The time runs away when we're having so much fun. Okay, so just coming back to sitting. When you're ready, just bring the palms together. Namaste. Thank you for joining the class today. I feel we did work quite hard this morning, so hope you all enjoyed it. And again, I know maybe it's a bit of a nuisance having to let me know, but it is really nice for me just to know who's out there, who's joining in. So if you could email, text, WhatsApp, whatever way you want to contact me, it is really nice to hear from you. Okay, so we've got another 2 weeks to go of Karen's isolation yoga, and fingers crossed, hopefully by the time we're due to start classes again, we have our break in July and August when we're due to start back at the beginning of September. I really do hope we'll be able to have live classes again in our usual place so that I can actually see you all. But I hope you're enjoying these as we go through the weeks. Okay, so I hope to see you all over the next couple of weeks and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.